every night before bed. And before he would leave my room, he would say, Brianna Lynn, you are enough. And no matter where you go and no matter what you do, you will always be enough. And if you're ever in a place where just being you isn't enough anymore, you're in the wrong place.
Wow.
It became like this lifeline for me.
Welcome back to A Life Worth Living, a place for real and raw conversations with people from all different walks of life. In a world with social media where people's best lives are on display, we all need refreshing reminders that no one is perfect and you are not alone. This is where you hear the greatest life lessons from the most incredible life stories. A daily reminder of how beautiful this life is and how life is truly worth living. In today's episode, we have Bri Ray, an R&B singer-songwriter and founder of Raising Me. Today, we dive into deep conversation about how to find true self-confidence and fully embrace our identity. I'm excited for you guys to hear Bri share some of the most vulnerable parts of her life. This is a beautiful episode. You're going to love it. Thank you so much for being here, Bri. I'm so excited because I just freaking love you.
Of course.
This is just going to be such a fun conversation. Plus, there's so much we can learn about so many different things from you. And so I feel like there's going to be a lot of value and it's going to be fun.
Well, thanks. I could say the same about you.
Well, I thought we could start by saying we're just sharing how we met. Just to like kind of give some intro to like how do we
join
even know
the
each
friendship.
other?
Yes.
Yeah.
We met on Instagram.
Yeah.
And who messaged you? Did I message you?
I don't remember, honestly.
I don't either.
I think I remember seeing videos of you on social media and I was just dying laughing. I'm like, this girl I need to be friends with because she's just the best. Like, and I was right. So
I'm so glad I lived up to it. But yeah, we just messaged each other, someone before the other, and met up for lunch randomly and became friends.
Yeah, it was the best. Thanks to Instagram, you get to meet so many fun people.
I agree.
So, well, I am excited to be able to kind of ask you some questions, and something that I love about having these conversations is that we get to just be like super real. Girl, that is like all you are. You're just like real, and like everything about it is just amazing. So I'm going to ask you like some questions. I remember that when we met, I didn't even know at the time, but you actually had been on American Idol.
Correct.
Which is like kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if like a lot of people know, but I feel like eventually people find out, like, and it's a crazy experience, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us more about like what that was like for you?
Yeah, it's so funny because for me it feels like ages ago, and it feels like American Idol was like forever ago.
Like, I was a baby.
And it's so funny because the season that I was on was supposed to be the last season ever.
What?
Like the finale season of American Idol.
It's still going today.
And it was on Fox, and then they're like, this is the finale season. And then like 2 years later, ABC bought it and brought it back. And so,
oh my gosh.
So I was like, oh yeah, this is the best season ever. What a marketing move for me, you know? And then they're like, Psych Girl is back. But it was a cool experience. It was very difficult in so many different ways, but also very eye-opening for me. And I think the biggest thing that I realized was I was sitting in a room full of incredibly talented people doing what they love to do, chasing this dream that lights their soul on fire.
Yeah.
And there were so many of them that felt like American Idol was their make or break and their last shot. And it was like their entire like being was resting on American Idol, which is a reality TV show, you know? And so I had some moments where I was just like, okay, hang on. Like, where am I giving my power? Who am I giving my power to? Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
And I kind of had a decisive moment where I was like, you know what? Whatever happens here, and whatever's supposed to happen here will happen here.
Yeah.
But I trust in myself, and I am so aware of my capabilities, and I believe in my capabilities enough to know that I'm going to be fine, American Idol or not.
Yes.
Finale season or not, you know? So yeah, it was a really, really cool experience. Not sure if I would ever do it again, but did enjoy my time.
Wow. I love that because I'm so big on where we put our energy. For me, I'm just like, I mean, I don't know if you've heard the term like choose your battles. Mm-hmm. Like if you're getting in an argument with someone and you're like, is this worth my energy? Like, yeah. But so I always think about that. I'm just like, no matter what it is in life, like we have the choice as to like what we want to give our power to. Mm-hmm. Like giving our energy away, that's like our choice. That person's not taking it from us. Like, and there are times when like our control is taken from us, but giving our energy to it is different, you know? And so I think that that's cool. And I think that there's even things with like contracts with like reality TV shows that can kind of be scary where like it feels like you're being, like you don't have your own control and it can be like stressful or intimidating, but like the energy is, that's how it impacts you the most, you know? And I think that's where you can kind of take it and use it to like push you to where you want to be, which is cool because you were saying that you saw in a lot of the different people in the room how talented they were, but they felt like they tied their worth and they tied their success and their abilities and like how good they really were or how talented they really were, or if they were meant to do what they're doing based on this TV show. And you saw that, which is so incredible that you like could see it very clearly and you made the decision. You're like, I'm not going to give my energy to that because like I know who I am and this could be great. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But like there's still the great things I can take from it. And that is incredible. A lot of people have to learn that from like maybe first giving away their energy and then coming and realizing it. But that's incredible. And I'm so glad you did that because we all need Bri Ray in our lives. And so if you weren't singing nowadays, I'm like, what would the world even be like?
Quiet. It'd be quieter.
It'd be so it'd be so quiet all the time. No, but seriously, I should like have you just start singing right now because
just bust it out. Oh, yeah. Give it
Did I tell you that there was like when was that you were singing and I was like, girl, you sound like Alicia Keys. You literally sound like Alicia Keys to me.
Thank you.
Like I can feel like you're like your own voice, but there's specific things I'll hear and I'm like, whoo.
Yeah, she's definitely an influence in so many areas of life. I think she is so amazing. Aww. So definitely an influence. Honored to remind you of Alicia Keys.
Well, I love it. I love it. I love it. That's really cool, Bri. I didn't know that you had that thought when you were doing American Idol.
Yeah, it's super interesting. It honestly is something that I return back to often, and I especially now with social media being what it is, I feel like it's so easy for us to get caught up in the acceptance and the praise and the love and the likes from other people and depend so much on that with our confidence and our worth, and everything just depends on the opinions of other people, right? Or the opinions of a TV show. And it's so demeaning to ourselves because we're worth so much more than that. But it's having the awareness and the conscious decision to look inward before you accept outward praise.
For sure. So you were able to take that experience, and I think that you just said, you know, you're applying that throughout your life, probably to like remind yourself, you know, hey, like I don't need to have XYZ in order for me to be successful. Like I'm still doing great even if I don't have 10 million followers, like on, you know, or I'm not getting like 3 million, or I guess now TikTok like 20 million views, like which what like that's insane. So I think that's like really important to remember for everyone. I think especially in your industry, the music industry, it's just a hard industry in general to be in. And so I think that a lot of times you can kind of start to feel like overwhelmed. You've got so many people around you who are trying to do the same thing in their own ways, and like it can be overwhelming for sure. But having that perspective is definitely a great foundation to stick to for anyone, but especially for your industry for sure.
Agreed.
Now that you've been able to implement those things moving forward in your career, what are you doing now? Like, what's your goals and moving forward? You've been doing so many different things, like not just in the music industry. Like you are way more than just an artist. You are like a queen. So we need to know it all. And if you can spill any secrets of like future plans.
Yes. Well, 2022 is on track to be a very good year. I am still doing music. I have a project that I'm working on that will hopefully be released soon. But it's interesting because as I have progressed through my life, my desire to like be a superstar and sell out stadiums has like really faded, honestly. And I have found more of a connection to the intimacy of music and the power and the message of music, which I totally think the Taylor Swifts and the mega superstars of the world are still connected to and deliver very well, right? But I have, I don't really feel like I have a taste for the fame of it really anymore.
Yeah.
And so I have readjusted my vision of what I want for my music career. And it's much more of an intimate relationship with fans and listeners and a much more on a smaller scale than before. And it has been resonating with me very well. And I feel my creative juices flowing again and all of the things. But so on the music front, I'm doing that and then doing some mentorship for developing artists and helping them write and taking them to the studio and things like that. But I also do quite a bit on the business front. And this year, I am officially, it's been like in the works for the last 2 years, but this is like the first year I'm moving on things. It's called Raising Me. And it's a platform that supports parents and children united through transracial adoption or foster care. And so we focus on interracial families. And if you know anything about me, you know that my mom is white and my dad was black. And so I came from a biracial home, was raised in Utah, predominantly white. And I went through a lot of developmental what did I just say? I went through a lot of really difficult moments in my development where I was like scavenging for shreds of identity that I now realize tie back to my racial and ethnic identity and understanding and accepting that culture that I wasn't introduced to hardly at all. Wow. Right? And like I went through junior high with Black Bri on the back of like all my sweatshirts and made everyone call me Black Bri because I wanted so badly to feel like I was black enough in this like white world that I was raised in, right? But I had no clue. I didn't understand, right? And then I had a mentor, Marika Hughes, and I performed at a big gala for the Young Arts Foundation in Miami. Aww. And while we were out there, I'm not going to cry. This woman changed my life.
Really? Wait, when was this?
This was, I don't even know. This was a couple of years ago. Probably like, how old am I now? Probably like 5-6 years ago, maybe.
Wow, okay.
So it was a while ago, but she and I had this moment where we were sharing an experience where both of us felt our voices and our stories weren't being heard or told appropriately. And at one point I went to her and I said, I don't feel okay about how I'm being represented right now. And she said, I have been waiting for you to recognize and to come and tell me that you understand that what's happening to you is not okay. Wow. And anyways, all of these things, right? And so she said, I will fight for you for as far as I can. I will take this conversation as far as it can go. But then like the ball's in your court and you have to get it done. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. And she went through the emotional and spiritual and mental ringer, like just was hung out to dry. She is a warrior and just, anyways. But end all, I found a confidence and a voice because of her that I had not found before, that connected directly back to an outward appearance that I had spent so many years desperately trying to accept and understand because there was no one else who looked like me when I was growing up. Anyways.
Oh, I'm so glad that you found that, Bri. That was before we met.
It was. Yep. It was like a couple years before we met, but yeah, I think what were we even talking about? I totally just forgot what we were even talking about.
No, we were talking about, I was just like listening to you. I was like so into that.
Oh, we were talking about Raising Me, the company.
Yes,
Anyways, okay, yeah. So, basically, in that moment with Marika, in this whole journey and process, I came to a realization that this huge piece of my identity that I was feeling this void in, right? And like knowing that this part of me was not developed the way I wanted it to be yet, excuse me, was so much of that was from the opinions of other people.
Yeah.
So much of that was from my peers growing up saying, well, you're not Black enough. Like, you're the whitest Black girl I've ever met. When their freaking representation of Black people is whatever they're hearing in songs or seeing on TV, which also is not necessarily correct all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so that lack of racial and ethnic identity and understanding for me was crucial and like so painful in my development up until the point where I had a mentor to guide me through and take my hand and be like, no, sweet thing. This is what it means to be a powerful woman.
Yeah.
And this is what it means to be a powerful Black woman.
Yes.
And like, here's the beauty and the glory and the power that comes with all of that. And it's time for you to knock off your nonsense and step into it because like you have work to do.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do, girl.
And
you
so
were
now
born to change this world. Like every time I just told you when you came and I was like, every time you walk up, my whole energy goes up. Like I just feel like this lift.
Good. That's good. I'm so glad. I feel the same with you. I do. I really do. But yeah, so now Raising Me is kind of my my full circle of, okay, this is what I went through growing up in an interracial family in a predominantly white community.
Yeah.
And this is where it stops. Like it's time now to provide white parents, like whoever, right? To provide adoptive parents who are raising children of a different ethnicity to understand and have the resources they need to help their children learn their history and to learn how to develop and step into their culture and that part of their identity.
I love that. I'm so glad you're doing this, Bri. It's so needed. And I'm very passionate about the psychology behind like what our brains do as we grow up and in between the ages 0 to 7. And there's so many different things. Like there's those negative core beliefs that develop and then there's the positive core beliefs. So those last with us through a lifetime. And so as you being young, all that you experienced, those things were implanted into you at a very young age, and your brain didn't even know that it was like waiting. So I talk about this all the time. I try not to be repetitive with it, but from ages 0 to 7, your brain is a sponge. Like you're a sponge, and even like the womb, you are just soaking up everything,
just absorbing. Yeah.
But the brain is smart enough to know that it's not capable of actually processing negative experiences at that point yet. Right? Like you talk to a little kid and they're so angry, but they don't know why and they don't know how to navigate that feeling. The brain knows that it's not fully developed yet and it's not at the point where it can actually process that experience. Yeah. So it puts it on the shelf, right? And then you grow up and your brain gets to the point where it's able to experience and it's able to process and it's fully developed. But then the thing is we don't know that we put those things on the shelf, but it's impacting us subconsciously. So like you went through this like period throughout your life where you're just like feeling it. You're feeling all these things that are there subconsciously. You don't really know, you don't fully understand quite yet, and you're trying to figure it out. And those different forms of identity that you're trying to figure out and all these things now tie all of that into generational patterns. And then you've got generational beliefs and then you've got all these different things. Now put that with a couple who adopts a child from a different ethnic background that they don't understand. It's a whole different line of generations that they don't know, right? So if there's generational beliefs, if there's generational patterns, they're not going to know about it way more than they would like it's going to be very confusing for them, and there's no resources for it.
Yeah.
So then on top of that, they don't even understand the culture, or or maybe they do, but they still don't know how to navigate it with their child. So there's just so many psychological aspects to this, what you're doing, that is so needed right now with parenting. And this is in general, but then also with like what you're doing right now with the children who have different backgrounds compared to their parents. And like, it's just, I am so grateful that there is someone that's coming forward and doing this. And I know that you're going to do such a great job.
Thank you.
Just because I know how you do everything you do. Everything you do is just like so beautiful and thorough, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Thank you. I'm very excited. It's been a brain baby for a long time, and it's coming to life this year.
Oh, I'm so pumped for you. We've already learned so much, I feel like, from you. And what I really want to get into is some of the things that you have just rose above from, and how, because I know that there are people listening that can relate. Even what we've already talked about, I know there's people that are listening that can relate and that appreciate what you're doing and you being here right now and the voice that you're having. And I'm excited for them to go find you on other platforms after this, because there's so much more they need to hear from you. But I want to ask, what is something that you have experienced in your life, anything that was hard or difficult or painful, something that was difficult that you've experienced, and like, what did you learn from that?
Yeah. Wow. Where should we start, y'all? Life is hard, period. I'm like, which year? Pick a year. I would say this is one of the moments in my life that I for sure hit rock bottom, but it was a very elevated rock bottom compared to the ones I've hit since. But but you know what? The beauty is we always climb back out, baby girl. Yeah. We're always on the up and up. Yes. Anyways, but I have been a daddy's girl forever. Already crying. But my dad, I used to wake up in the morning and hear him singing in the shower, and he would come into my room and scratch my back and sing me a song every night before bed. And before he would leave my room, he would say, "Brianna Lynn, you are enough. And no matter where you go and no matter what you do, you will always be enough." And if you're ever in a place where just being you isn't enough anymore, you're in the wrong place.
Wow.
And that was like my soul motto, starting from however young I was when he started saying that up until now, right? And it became like this lifeline for me of no matter what was going wrong in my life, like however big or small the problems feel, like I got a D on a test, lifeline, you know? And it just always is like, D on a test, still enough, got it, you know? And so it really did, it became such a lifeline for me. And then when I was 15, my dad was traveling in Europe with my mom and my older sister, and he had a severe stroke and became completely paralyzed on the right side of his body and lost all ability to speak. And for me, in my 15-year-old mind, my hero, was now what felt like half of a hero and half of who he was, right? And he couldn't communicate to me. He could look at me and I could tell he could recognize me, but like there was something missing.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, because he couldn't verbally affirm me that I was good enough and that I was doing enough and that I would be enough no matter where my career took me or how successful I became.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't affirm that verbally to me anymore, it totally disappeared from my confidence. Like I felt so lost and so empty and so like just, I felt like I had no purpose. And And that's a lot of pressure to put on one person. Sorry, Dad, but like, come on, you know? But that's how our relationship was at that point. And it took a long time. I like ran away from home, stayed with a friend for a month, like did all the things. But eventually I came across a scripture that says, "You are wonderfully and beautifully made, and that my soul knoweth is right," or right well, or whatever it is. I don't remember. I just remember that I'm wonderfully and beautifully made, everybody. But but seriously, when I read that, for some reason, it hit me in exactly the way it was supposed to hit me at exactly the right time.
Wow.
And I was so convinced that nothing had changed. Like, okay, since the time my dad last said "you're enough" until now, all these months later of me feeling like I'm nothing, I'm beautifully and wonderfully made. And I have been this whole time.
Yeah.
But I just needed that bridge to connect, you know? I just needed it to connect for me.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because I feel like confidence is something that is so crucial for every individual, but it is also like the most draining and exhausting journey to like find it and to keep it and to hold on to it. Yes. Yeah. And we're so surrounded all the time by perfect images and what appear to be perfect people and perfect lives and perfect careers. And I'm just like, listen, sometimes I like read things wrong. Sometimes I don't know what I'm doing and I pretend. Sometimes, you know, like it just is how it is. We are all faking it until we make it through this freaking world. And like at some point I would love to make it. So you let me know when that point is. But it really is, it's so rough because confidence is key and it is also so hard to maintain.
Yeah.
So I have thought for like since that last moment of realization of like, ooh, I'm the shiz, baby. Like from that last moment, I feel like I've been riding a high. Like I've just been like, ooh, I'm confident. I am Bri Ray. Like this is it. This is the moment. Every moment is my moment, you know? And it's been like that for a long time, a couple of years. And well, I guess like 8-9 years. Well, my lovely dad, our relationship again developed and blossomed into a completely new phase of our relationship and the way we interacted.
What happened after he had his stroke?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Did he get like, was he able to speak again? Was he able, like, was he okay?
So he came home from the hospital finally after a few months. He was stuck in Europe for like 2 or 3 weeks. They couldn't fly him home.
Wow.
And then he was in the hospital for like a month or 2 in Utah before he could come home. And then the rehab process began. So we had to like redo parts of our house so his wheelchair could fit through. He had to learn how to drive his electric wheelchair with his left hand. So there are some dents in the walls, some shelves at stores that were completely like demolished. Anyways, but we all had good laughs about it. But my dad is or has been the epitome of never giving up. And like never taking no as an answer and breaking all the barriers that we put around our minds, right? Of like, well, I could do that, but I'm this. Like he was like, I can do that and I'm this, and I'm still gonna do it. Like that was always my dad. And that's exactly what he did. So he regained his speech to the point where he could hold conversations and communicate what he needed to communicate. Yeah. He still definitely was not 80%, 80% or 100%.
Definitely not 80.
I mean, not 80. Sorry, Dad, you weren't a bee, bud. No, but he...
but getting to 100%,
but yeah,
it was still...
He just worked so hard to learn how to write again, to learn how to read again, to learn how to speak again.
This is a bad stroke.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Very bad. And the progress that he made surpassed all the expectations of doctors. Like he started driving again. He could walk. He started working at a church school teaching special needs kids. Like you guys,
He's an angel.
convinced he seriously best man ever.
Yeah.
Ever. But yeah, our relationship developed beautifully post-stroke and turned into another beautiful phase of our relationship. And just recently, a few months ago, he suffered cardiac arrest, and after another month in the hospital, passed away. And this high that I've been riding and this all of this confidence and everything that I have built and everything I feel like I am and that I know I am, all of a sudden, again, was flipped into question for me. And like little things became hard. Like literally yesterday, I went to this info session about the Crown Act, which is creating a open and welcoming environment for natural hair, right? And so it's this big movement to make sure that ethnic women can show up to work with their hair how they want. I mean, obviously,
cool.
let's not get crazy, but naturally, right? That we can show up with protective or natural hairstyles and it's considered professional, right?
Yeah.
Which is wonderful. Well, I'm going to this event and it's nothing out of the norm of
You're
what I
always
would,
at-
right.
Yeah, you're always
I'm like,
going to
it's
events.
just a social thing, an event thing, a learning thing, right at my alley.
Yeah.
Girl, when I tell you, I walked into that building and I was trying to find the classroom and I had to sit down because I was so anxious about having to talk to anybody. Like, that's not anything that ever happens to me, ever.
Yeah.
But I get my joy for people and my joy of interaction and my joy for talking and making people laugh from my dad. It's 100% his trait that he passed on to me. Aww. And since he's passed, it's been hard for me to do that. But with that said, of all the things that I felt were flipped or lost or erased the moment my dad passed, they have all been slowly returning and or I would say I have been slowly finding them and stepping back into the shoes that I previously filled for myself. And just stepping back into the person that I know I am and that I know I can be and that I'm supposed to be and the person that my dad raised me to be.
Yeah.
And I think for me, at least, one of the biggest lessons that I'm learning is everything that we need is already inside us. Yeah. And there are people like my dad and like Marika Hughes and like whoever else in your life is inspiring, right?
Yeah.
There are these people who help like shine it and radiate it and they help spread it and share it and they help grow it, right? But it's always been in you.
Yep.
And I think for me, having these pivotal moments with my dad and his health and being so like, oh my gosh, he's gone. Oh, he's back. Oh, he's kind of still gone, but he's still back. And now he's gone for real. And having these pivotal moments has made me have to turn and look so far inside of myself that it's like uncomfortable of like, oh my gosh, like where does this insecurity, like where is it rooted? Mm-hmm. Where does it come from? Yeah. And where does this part of my confidence and my joy come from? Mm-hmm. Where is it rooted? Like, is it mine? Or have I subconsciously placed the responsibility of that piece of me on someone else?
Wow.
Like, am I holding my dad responsible for keeping my confidence in check?
Wow.
When it wasn't his job to begin with.
Yeah.
His job as a dad was to build me up, to light me on fire, and to teach me that I can do whatever I need to do. But my job is to internalize that confidence and hold it true to myself. And that's not anybody else's job. Wow. And so I think through this whole process of like mourning and grief and missing my dad, I am also landing on, I have a lot of work to do to really.
Well, everyone does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To pull in that confidence and make sure the source of it is you. So that's my journey.
I
right
love
now.
that. I love the what you just said, making sure that the source of your confidence is you. That's incredible. And man, like it's so hard because I remember I saw you at an event earlier and like I just was like crying just like seeing you because I hadn't, and this is the first time I've gotten to talk to you about it really, but I had known that you had gone through all of this and it was just like my heart was just going out to you so much. And like, I just leaned over to Ty and I was like, I just need to hug her. But you're like on stage. And I'm like, I just need to hug her. And I'm like, I don't know if she's at all thinking about what I'm thinking about right now, but I'm thinking about what I'm thinking about right now. And I want to hug her. And I just love her. And so the second you got like a break and you walked off stage, I ran up to you and I was just like, she's going to think I'm crazy, but I just have to tell her that I just love her.
I appreciated it. So, I needed it that night too. So thank you. Thank you. I've
thought about you so much and Ty has too. And I just like, I know that these ups and downs, like, and I believe so strongly in us turning these like negatives into positives, but man, like when you're in it, it's just like, so hard and so I like don't want to see you have to go through those things because I just love you. And it's ironic because I mean like if you were to for those that believe in God, you think about God and he obviously doesn't want to see that, but he lets us because afterwards like what you experienced before then you were on this high. You're right, you're on this high and you're just like going at all the things. Think about all of the things that you accomplished and you did during that time period that maybe wouldn't have happened if you didn't learn what you had learned and like gone through what you had gone through and chose. Like you could go through anything, but you chose to learn from that specifically. And that's ultimately what helped you make certain decisions. And that's what led you to where you were. Then you met certain people that needed you in their life, and then you met your man too.
We love him. So we do love the man.
It's just crazy because like we have like taking like where we're going to put our energy, right?
Yeah.
Taking our control back, making those decisions and like hearing you talk about this in the way that you just did. Which, by the way, like, you're great at making, like, things light about, because you just, like, make jokes, and I'm just like, why am I laughing? Like, I'm so sad.
I'm like, we're really talking about something so sad, but it's kind of funny.
Like, how do you do that? I can't. But, like, man, if I were to picture myself in that position, like, it just would be so hard on me. And I love that you not only were able to, like, take something and you're taking things and you're learning, but man, like you took a huge humility check and that is hard to do without having to go through what you were going through with your family. Like just by yourself, looking inwards is always uncomfortable and realizing like, hey, there's something deep that I need to like readjust here, like rewire, and having to take a responsibility or accountability for things that have caused so much pain. When you kept thinking it was like something else, it was this person, it was my mom, or it was like my ex-boyfriend who like whatever, or my, sister, or like, whatever, or my parents getting divorced. Like there's always these things for so long that even I thought growing up, like I had my stuff too, where I was like, oh, I had the answer as to like, and like yours was like your dad, he's the source of your confidence, but like it wasn't necessarily like thought that way.
Right.
And then when you finally had to realize like, wait, I have that responsibility, you know? Like for me, like my responsibility is a huge thing to be able to say because you're now taking that control back and you're now in control. So then any pain that you're experiencing, you're like, well, and so for me, I just think in general, that's hard to do. And so hearing what you went through and you took a step back and you were like, I think I have some healing I need to do. I think I have some things that I need to learn. And seeing that like that pain that you were experiencing with like trying to find your identity and your confidence and maintaining it, it's like the maintenance that was like the hardest part from what it sounded like. And for me, I feel that too. So it's like, but I think it's so incredible that you can sit here and you can say that and you can be like, I realize that I have to do that because I know that like all of us rely on somebody else in some way that we subconsciously are doing that we don't realize.
Absolutely.
And it's very common. So for you to be able to sit here and say that in something so profoundly, the way that you speak and the way that you portray yourself and like the words, and you like, it's just, you do such a great job.
Thank you.
I'm just so impressed by you, like always. But I'm so glad that you were able to share that with us, because I know that that's very personal. So thank you for being comfortable enough to be able to share that, because I know the blessings that it will be for other people. And I'm grateful that you're at a place where you can, you know, and even though there's still hard days, you know, I'm not saying that you're perfect and you're perfectly healed, because girl, I am not perfectly healed.
I'm like, don't be fooled. She's a hot mess.
I feel you in so many different ways, and yet we've had totally different lives, and like it's really cool, and that's what I love about, man, that's making me emotional. That's what I love about having conversations like these, because we're so different, but like we connect in ways, because you say something, you say a feeling, right? And even if it has to do with your ethnicity, and we might not be the same ethnicity. I didn't grow up as a Black girl, you know, like I didn't grow up having to deal with all that you dealt with, like, but I felt some sort of relatable feeling.
You had your own pains, you had your own journey. And I think that's what's so cool about human connection and about these conversations, like you were saying, is because literally we all feel the same emotions. I'm like, if you're pissed, I'm pissed. I know what that feels like. You're happy, I'm happy. I know what that feels like. You know, and so like we always have something in common with everybody, because we're all just humans experiencing life and feeling. And
we're doing this for the first time.
Yes.
None of us know what we're doing.
I'm like, hi, sorry, have you been here before?
I'm like, I'm hosting a podcast because I know all the answers. I'm like, no, I'm hosting a podcast so I can learn everything.
Hi, this is your Guide to Life podcast hosted by Bri Ray and Britt Lamore. Like, are you kidding? Seriously, like we are all learning, and I think it's just having the patience with ourselves and with each other as we all go through this journey on our own time to find that internal healing and that internal confidence.
Yeah, I love it. Wow. I'm so grateful for you to be here. Like, I just love you so much. And I want to ask, because I like to ask this question. I think that, you know, everyone has their own things that they're going through, like we were just saying, and people can connect with us in so many different ways. So I want to ask you, what to you makes life worth living?
Geez, so many things. Hot Cheetos.
No,
No, but for real, I actually, dude, I love hot Cheetos. Throw those on some queso fries, crunch them up.
Oh, okay.
Ladies, only once a month, maybe once every 3 months, whatever. But no, truthfully, I was reading something the other day, and there's a line that says, "You have so many kind things to give back to the world." And it like took my breath away. And I read it like so many times. Like, how many words is that? Girl, I spent like 45 minutes just reading that one line. But for some reason, the way that it was phrased, you have so many kind things to give back to the world. Like, how often do we think of the things that we're doing as kind? Like, hi, I'm building this business. That's a kind thing to do for the world.
I would not think that in my mind if I heard somebody say that.
Me either.
But it is.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And so I started diving in deeper to my thought process around that. And what I've landed on, and what I now truly believe, is that we as human beings, just our existence alone is a kind thing.
Wow.
Because we are kind beings in nature, you know, like we are kind, and you existing, you showing up, even if that's all you do, girl, you woke up, you stayed in your jammies and you laid on the couch. That was a kind thing today. It was a kind thing today.
Yes.
And so I think for me, what makes life worth living is, well, at least now, currently, today, in this moment, my reason is that I am a kind thing. And it's kind of me to show up for the world and for myself.
Yeah.
Me showing up is self-love.
Yeah.
It's kind of me to do that for me, you know? And so for me, what makes life worth living is that I am kind. I'm a kind thing. I'm surrounded by beautiful, lovely, kind things that have so many experiences and things to teach me.
Yeah.
And that is enough for me.
Wow. I love it. I love that. I am a kind thing. I love that. I just love you.
I love you, girl. Anything you need ever, you call, I'll be there.
Oh my gosh. Same to you. Are you kidding me? I will drop anything
Always.
for my girl, Bri.
Yeah.
Always.
Always.
Which, by the way, do you have any performances, events, anything coming up?
Let's see. I have a show on February 22nd.
Ooh.
At Valoran Provo, if anyone's a Utah guest.
Cute. Yes.
And it's the Les Femmes de Valor show, which is they do like a whole week of shows with only female-led bands.
Wow.
Very rad.
That is sick.
It's a very
I love
cool
it.
week.
I love it.
Worth
So
coming
cool.
to. But then in August 13th, we're holding our first big community event for Raising Me.
Oh.
So we'll have some keynote speakers, some activities. We'll have a whole marketplace with stores owned by people of underrepresented communities.
Wow.
And just anyways, it's going to be a really good time.
Yes.
So August 13th,
Okay.
mark a calendar.
Mark the calendar.
Yes.
Mark it. It is on. Bam.
Yes. Boom, baby.
Boom, baby, bam. No, I love it. Okay, so you said August 13th.
Uh-huh.
And that is this year, 2022.
2022.
And everyone needs to go.
Yes.
So I am just so grateful that you came, Bri.
Of course.
Thank you for taking the time. I know you're so busy and you're famous. So I'm just like so grateful to even be in your presence. So no, but Bri, I love you.
I love you.
And I am grateful for you. And I'm grateful that you were here. I hope that was helpful for people listening. And we're probably going to have you on again at some point.
Would love to. Because if it wasn't helpful for them, it was helpful for me. So,
oh, good. I'm glad.
so somebody's benefiting.
Good. Okay. Well, I'm benefiting too. So if it's just me and you, that's all we do.
Good.
No, I'm grateful. I'm glad. You're amazing. Thank you so much for being here, Bri. I love you so much. I really do appreciate you.
Thank you.
If you guys want to know more about Bri's company, then you can look it up. They've got a website.
Yeah,
right?
our website is raising-me.com.
Yes. And Instagram is Bri Ray, Bri, B-R-I. And then look up Bri Ray on Spotify because you need her music in your life. It's a must. So definitely look her up. Stay up to date. She's got fun things coming.
Thanks.
So, thanks, girl.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for watching or listening. If you liked this episode, subscribe and follow along. If there's someone you feel like would be a good fit for the show, feel free to send me recommendations on Instagram at alifeworthliving.show. I appreciate you guys so much and I'm grateful to have you here. And until next time, have a great week.